We have some phenomenal farms now, but none of them were like this the first year. Yeah, we said that. It's like, I don't care if there's even a deer on it. We'll make it the way we want to. But getting a farm like this, the very first year, having all those genetics with the splits and 6x6s and 6x5s and fork 2s and 3s. And I mean, you make it after 3 and 4 and 5 years, but not on year 1. So you know you got the right genetics, the right area, and you know you have the right neighbors, because all those deer would have been dead. When we look for a farm, it's not just, hey, we're gonna go put food plots in. Anyone can do that. It's a lot of research and finding the right area, the right kind of management.
The deer are here, the strategy is here, now all it needs is time. It is unbelievable, the strategy that's been implemented. It hunts, I think, like a way bigger place because it's surrounded by cattle country, it's cattle farms. So, you know, even if you got a serious hunter on a cattle farm, you know,
yeah, for them to
it's
come out
hard
of,
to,
Like a needle in a haystack.
it's hard for them to come out. Like when we got all the food in here and you got all the timber and cover, you know, beautiful green fields and bean fields. And you know, this was all just cattle before. So out the first time in a lot of these deer's lives, it's like, man, look at all the food here, and they're not gonna go anywhere.
We're not hunting this farm as of yet this year, and these deer are just comfortable here. They don't go anywhere. They're coming through the gaps in daylight. They're on every camera on every end of the farm. It's just awesome to see the results of, you know, what big deer will do when they're not getting pressured.
This is come out to be a nice wheat and turnip mix and stuff in here right now. This could be, it's big enough they could be corn or beans or anything that we wanted to, but it's nice to have a big green field as well, as long as we got all the, you know, the grains over in the big portions of it too. But
When I seeded this, I already mixed clover in with it.
yeah,
And this is going to be an amazing clover field next spring.
yeah. That's what we've been doing on some of ours, just say we need some bigger clover or alfalfa fields. In the past, a lot of times we use them as like small killing fields, like 1 and 2 and 3 acre clover fields. Now we've been doing everything like 7, 8, 10, something to really hold them in the summertime to take some pressure off. Something that can, there's a lot of deer can feed in a clover field this big. You know, it produces so much tonnage, and that can save some of your corn and beans from
a lot of the little plots
destroying
are just
that.
kill plots and scent concentrators. This is primary green source, which is
And
important.
it's perfect size too, because you look at this, I mean, obviously there could be a deer way down that end, and you're not gonna get a shot at them, but all you gotta do is come through the middle someplace. I mean, you can basically shoot all the way across, and but 30 yards is maximum if they're in the middle. So it's still very, very huntable for archery hunting, as well as, you know, as being big.
Yep, rubbing post here, pinch point pond, perfect access, egress with anything north, and the thermal should pull in the same direction off of this stand. There's a gap at the end where the hay bales are. This end, we left about a 20-yard strip of cedars, and we built a road straight through the whole, you know, backside of the farm. So for morning access, you can slip in and get anywhere you wanted in these woods. We'll buzz around and kind of show you some of these spots, how they came together.
This gap here, that big heavy 10, I can, on that camera, I can see him come out of there. There's a bunch of big rubs. And he just comes right over here like this and walks right in front of the camera like almost every day. That's got rye, clover, and I had turnip and radish with me, so I threw it in there. It was too late to plant it, but they'll get a little bit out of that in the winter.
Especially, yeah, especially when you got, you know, 70-degree days like today.
There's a killer, more of like a morning all day sit in the back there. There's that cedar tree, and we did some work back there, so you had some lanes and some little path of least resistant spots, so the deer would come by, checking the plots. And again, you can take that road in the morning around the back and slip in there. And then on this side, we put the blind over against the, you know, the shadows of these cedars, so it lasts light. You got the dark backdrop if there's deer out there.
The farmer just cut these beans a couple days ago, and he left about 10 acres total.
Yeah,
That's
a
gonna
lot
be
for,
plenty.
you know, yeah, for a
Hopefully.
first year farm. I mean, you'll see how many deer will pull in there, but I guarantee you, we get to shed season, there won't be a bean anywhere on any of this stuff once these deer start finding it.
In some situations, you leave one big food source, and in this situation, just kind of felt like these spots were so killer, you know, that like he's gonna lock on the deer you're trying to hunt's gonna lock onto one of them, and
Right.
it felt a little more bow huntable to leave kind of multiple. These are my favorite food plot setups because, especially for easy maintenance, because you got the clover that just requires to be mowed, and then you got your standing grain, and then you can come in here and overseed your brassicas and turnips. Yeah, you're not gonna get the huge bulbs, but you're gonna get the leafy brassicas. And then in one spot, you've got the legumes, the cereal grains, the brassicas, the standing crop, and it's so easy.
Yeah, this wasn't touched last time I was in there, and now it's got great big brow tine gouges in it.
If they're coming out here, it's a chip shot. I mean, what is it, 20 yards, 25 all the way across, so they're gonna be at 10 or 15 and you got the tree koi here to stop them. Made a nice little road trail for them to come out. That's where we did a lot of timber work back there. You see how thick it is, even in there, it's even thicker now. But you know, we get those deer coming right out here. We got greens to grains right out there.
When we first bought this property, we just had that 80, and this north end was a big wood lot, and it had a ton of structure, obviously ideal for a big buck to live. But once we added the 140, it was just like the strategy canvas just exploded, because now you got this is like a spot that it's gonna be killer from opening day to ending day. And like when you get one of these midday daylight walkers and he's going bedding area to bedding area, you're gonna come out of there, walk through this, and you're gonna shoot right into that next big,
yeah, and that's where a lot of them
gnarly
been coming
bedding
out of
area.
that bedding area too.
We did a lot of that timber work in this wood lot because it made sense as a sanctuary, and then that over there, and then this big island here, we didn't do near as much by design to try and, you know, lower the odds of having deer where we're putting wind from some of these stands.
So this has got rye in it, and then turnips and rye around the edges. That camera is where I'm getting most of them. Been a lot of activity here all year. So we kind of watched this spot develop. We started out with the box blind at the south end. And then as we kept watching cameras, we were like, man, maybe we ought to scoop that up and bring it up here for a bow hunting scenario. And then if this food dries up here late season, we can always just scoop it up and take it back down to the beams.
Right.
Or if
Yeah,
the
easy
deer
to
pops
move
up
them
down
around
there.
anywhere, yeah.
Yeah, they're set up just to pick them up with the tractor and move them.
The nice thing about having these feeders here is like after the season is over and say if they start depleting your food plots, you turn these on, at least you have a good food source for them all year. I mean, that's really what you want. You want to make sure that you don't run out of food.
Chasing big deer, it's just all probability. There's so many aspects of just math, and it's like being efficient. Like these cut down your cameras exponentially,
Cut down your impact.
increase your odds of inventorying, increase your odds of holding.
For sure. Or if your farmer just wanted they pass through and they go on to somebody else's, well then it's up to somebody else to get them through. And everybody's not going to have the same mentality as you do. You lose most of your best genetic ones because even at 3 years old, they're dumb and they're running and, you know, chasing does all over the place. And, you know, people just see a deer come with a giant rack. It looks huge because the body's small, you know, and they'll shoot it. And I don't blame them. That was me before too. And I don't take anything away from that because I did that for years too. But, you know, like I said, it's just if you can have a farm and do everything right, you hold them on there and keep them on your neighbors, you have that chance of getting them to that 5 and 6, 7 years old to shoot these 200-inch deer like you want. The odds are so against you.
Yeah.
So when you do finally get one there, you want to be able to get in and get an arrow in them and be done fast before they break or a neighbor shoots them or something else. And that's what, that's what we've been doing for 20 years, doing this stuff, all of us. You see what works, and feeders and combination of food plots, feeders, timber work, everything takes everything to make everything come together.
And the probability in this area with these cattle farms all the way around are just even more exponentially in your favor to be able to hold them here.
That was an angry feller right there.
I mean, based off all the giant rubs that are in both the fingers,
I have a feeling they might be coming
bad.
right through this.
Yeah.
I don't know what this higher fence was in here at one time. They had buffalo or something in here, but it sure works nice to funnel deer.
That fence was a gift. I mean, there is a massive concentration of scent in that break in that fence. And when they hit that, they are just getting rambunctious because there's like literally, some might call it 3 scrapes and some might call it One little hung scrape.
That big 9-pointer's been living down there all year long, so we just move some cameras around and see if we can zero in on him. But lots of activity, lots of traffic going on this side of the farm too, and we're about to show you this little gap here where we got this other box blind and a hole in the fence, and it's probably the busiest camera location that we've got on farm right now.
From that corner to where we just put that camera, there's not a break in that fence. And it goes all the way down the edge of that field.
And then down through the woods. And then it starts again there. Goes all the way through that woodlot.
Yeah, so you gotta figure anything wanting to go from that side of that fence to this side, you're gonna come.
They're coming right through here.
I mean, you took these fences out, it'd be a whole different place.
This has all got clover under it as well, so next year you'll have a pretty little clover plot in a big up and over.
That box is scent free, so it's like you can kind of get in there when you have to, but by design, we kind of did this around that tree too. So I'd literally have a tree stand in there for the rut when things are a little faster paced. And a layer of strategy for the future we talked about is that south facing, all those fingers. If you grass those south facing and then you've got that little diverse like opening oases in the grass, and then now there's no food over there and all those deer are forced
right
through this little slot, like.
Yeah, this place is something special. I tell you, from the first year, like I said, all the farms that we have and bought over the years, I've never had one the first year that was like this.
This far along.
This far along, as far as,
Yeah.
well, just genetics, that's something you can't control. You know,
Some farms, they lay out good for hunting setup, but they don't have the goods, you know, the pictures, the genetics. Some have the genetics and the goods, but they don't, you know, it's like, there's always like gives and takes. Rarely did they line up like this and just hunt so effectively.
be nice to see if all those splits and stuff make it through, and what they'd be next year. I mean, you potentially could have, you know, 2 or 3 200-inch deer on this, like 190 to 200.
That 6x5 typical is young, and he is big now.
Yeah, if somebody's interested in one of these, you know, either this one or different ones, or want us to help set one up for them, you know, it's always available right here. I mean, I'm telling you, once you walk on this place, you go sit out here, you'd want to buy this one.